This is the Porsche Macan, debuted in 2014. Production's been running on these ever since, facelifted in 2019, and now the second generation taken over in 2021 and hit the roads in 2022. EV models will be released in 2023 and will run alongside current production models of petrol and diesel derivatives. I don't think there's a bad angle on it where you think that's an ugly car. It is a great looking car, it's a great all-round car. It is a perfect sports utility vehicle, and Porsche have done a great designing this car for all purposes, even a bit of off-roading. And you can see why they're getting so popular on the roads as well. They're cheaper than the Cayenne, but they do the job just as well. This specific one is the Porsche Macan Turbo. It looks good, it sounds great, it drives brilliantly, until it gets a bit wet, and I'll explain. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel on the first video of 2023, where today you join me out with the Porsche Macan. Like I said in that little intro, the Porsche Macan. Porsche have done a great job designing it. It's a brilliant SUV car. It looks good and they're popular for a reason. They're pretty well priced depending on what spec you want. They sort of fit, they've got a nice fit in the gap in the market. Now, Porsche have, unfortunately, it seems to have overlooked one little design when creating the car, and that's to do with the panoramic roof and the drains that run around the car for the water. So I'll go into a bit more detail, but it's causing quite big issues. So if you got a Macan, you might want to stick around for this one. Now, just like any car, when you go to fill up the washer bottle for your windscreen wipers, it's under the bonnet, so you pop the hood, you fill the tank up, and you're good to go. Now, this seems to be a common design issue that all Macans seem to have. Actually, I've heard rumours that it's actually all Porsche models with a panoramic roof because of the drains for the panoramic roof. So, just like any car really, you've got your washer bottle somewhere in the hood, you've got piping that runs round up the bonnet to the wipers for your screen, and then likewise you've got a T-piece in there somewhere that splits that pipe, and then you have one that runs up a pillar. I think on the Macan it's the passenger side pillar, runs up, over, round and down somewhere to your rear wiper, or in this case up along here and then in there. So that's all good until you get to the winter. Now, what happens in the winter when temperatures drop below zero? Water freezes. Water freezes in the pipes, creates a block. You can't do anything until the water thaws out. Now, when it's frozen outside and you get in your car and you try to use your windscreen wipers, you don't actually know the pipes are frozen until you try and use it. The window wipers smear the front windscreen and no water comes out. That's okay, not on this one. So there seems to be a T-piece in there somewhere where the rubber hoses are just put in or pushed onto the plastic T-piece. I'll try and get a picture of what I think it might look like. When that T-piece comes under pressure, when you activate the water pump, the pipe blows off. When that pipe blows off, you then got the pipe just dangling it round down in there somewhere, pumping all the water out. So you're hitting the windscreen wipers go in, you think nothing's happening, but the water is actually pumping out in the car somewhere. And now we've found out where the water comes out. It is actually down in here somewhere. So you think, okay, that's not too bad. So what some people have done, and this isn't just the current, or the first generation, this is a 2019 model. It's not just the 2019s, it's all of them. Someone on the Porsche forum has just spec'd up a 90 grand Porsche Macan, picked it up, within a couple of weeks he's had this issue. So water trickles in through here under the carpet somewhere. You get in your car, you've unknowingly been dumping a whole washer fluid tank of water in your footwell, the passenger footwell. You come in, you step on that, that's all nice and soggy, and you think, oh great, now I've got to dehumidify and dry out the car. Not just that, it gets worse. This is where the real problems start to pick up. Under here, and your floor pan, are all these sort of ECUs and electricals that Porsche put in to run the car. Now, water and electricals aren't a good mix. So, and this is where the problems start to begin. And I've got a huge list from electrical problems for this car. It started off with rear parking sensors failing. Got in the car one day, went to use the rear parking sensors or reverse, and they're not working. You think, oh, they've failed. Okay, it's under warranty, not a problem, we'll take it to Porsche. Get it booked in. Now, Porsche have got a waiting list of a month and a half, and within this period, more and more electrical issues start cropping in. But that's not the only sort of bad design flaw. This is where it gets even better. So, up on the roof up here, I'll try and get up there, you have the drain that runs along the panoramic roof, and then it tucks down into this pillar somewhere, and it comes down here, and it should be a little drain hole somewhere under here. Another bad design. What happens is that hole is only very small. It gets blocked up with grit as you're driving along, and all the stuff that's running off the roof, that hole blocks. That water then backs up the pipe to the first sort of hole it can find. Again, it's just a pushed in fitting, I guess. That water then trickles out, overflows into the boot. And let me show you where the lowest point of the boot is. Normally it's a footwell for your spare tyre, but most modern cars don't actually come with spare tyres anymore. Let's see what Porsche have decided to put where the wheel well would be. So under there is a box of fuses that was filled up with water, and then this one here is your battery, the lowest point in the car. So if you actually go under there, you can see how deep that well is. And we sort of discovered that whole box was full of water, and I got a couple of videos and I'll put that in, and you can see how full of water this is, and you will understand why this car has had so many electrical problems.
That's fucking hell. 6 inches tape, about 4 inches tape. That's stuff your knuckles. How the fuck am I supposed to get that out?
Now, like I said, when the first electrical problem cropped up, it was just parking sensors, rear parking sensors sort of failed and they stopped working. But this is the list that we've got over time from the water getting into all electrical components and sort of the ECUs of the car. So in order of where it started: parking sensors / camera intermittent, red warning light flashing in overhead console on centre switch, start stop deactivated comes up on dash, mirrors not unfolding, intermittent loud screeching warning sound from dash, gearbox dropping out of gear while coasting. But apparently that is a thing on some of these cars where it does drop into like a coast mode, although we haven't experienced it, only the once when we found the boot full of water. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. Water ingress in offside rear fuse box, battery half full of water, AA removed the sub in the boot and replaced it, a bung out of the compartment to drain the water, water coming in from top of near side A pillar running down dash to passenger footwell soaking carpet, underneath that carpet is the ECUs, torque display missing right side of display, rear washer not working because the line was frozen and the pipe popped off, which was causing the footwell to flood. Lots of electrical modules, including ABS and airbag in there. So yeah, you don't sort of want water getting into your airbag modules. And if it's starting off with parking sensors and getting to a point where the gearbox might start dropping out of gear while driving, what else is going to come up? Could you be driving along one day and the engine just dies because the ECU's got water in it and shuts down? Is your airbag going to randomly deploy because water is in the airbag module? I don't know how far this could go on. I mean, Porsche have rectified it and they know there's a problem. The dealer where we got the car from, when we sort of phoned up and said, how's the car doing? Or we actually got the car back because they didn't have enough time to fix the amount of problems there was. They said, oh, we've actually got another Macan in at the moment for the same problems. So it's obviously a common issue and there's loads of reports of it on the forums. And the funny thing is, like, when we picked up the car, it was July, I think we picked up the car. So it was in the middle of summer. We don't really get a lot of rain. And these problems only cropped up once it started raining. So up until December, the car was fine. It was only, yeah, when we got into winter and it started raining that these problems come up. So, like I said, it's a little design oversight that's caused such big problems. But then where do we go from there? I guess, does paranoia set in? And you sort of think, well, I don't really want that car because I can't drive it. I need to keep it garaged. I can't take it out in the rain because of this design flaw. There's simple solutions to it, but how Porsche get around it, they haven't said. Whether they just clear the pipes out and say, yeah, give that a go, we don't know. I mean, it's still a great car and it drives great while it's working. You just can't use it 100%, and I guess you can't really trust it to some extent. Now, where that leaves the car, obviously, we've got it booked to take on a Euro tour in June, so should be fine then. We shouldn't have any rain then because we'll be in the summer. But would you trust a car in the rain that you know has all these faults going on a 2,000-3,000 mile Euro trip around all of Europe? How would you feel, like, safety wise? Are you going to go out to your car one day, it's been raining overnight and the car won't start because everything's flooded, or are you going to be stranded on the side of a motorway somewhere because the engine died or dropped out of gear and won't go back into gear? We don't know. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. Let me know if you're looking at a Macan, or whether you've got a Macan and you've had similar issues, or any sort of Porsche with a panoramic roof. Let us know if you've had these sort of problems. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative, and I will see you on the next one very soon. Bye for now.